名王形成と今こそ誕生の時せい疑似ようかて今こそ誕生の時
Albedo has been out for a week and I've had time to take a good long look at him. Apologize if you guys have been waiting for a while for this Albedo review, but you know, holidays. Speaking of which, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for supporting the Facebook streams, the YouTube channel, the Discord, everything. Make sure to click all those links in the description, alright? See you in 2021, X-Fam. So, Albedo. Albedo is a superb support DPS unit who deals consistent geo damage over the whole duration of a fight. He is semi-bursty with his ult, can't deal as much damage as other burst types, but he excels at providing that constant DPS no matter what is happening on the field, even when he is off the field. Also, elevators. Building Albedo is not as straightforward as many other characters. We have to take into account whether he is used as a main DPS or a support DPS, and whether he is Constellation 0 or Constellation 2. Before we move forward, all of the suggested builds will use a Geo Damage Goblet and a crit rate or crit damage headgear depending on what you're missing. The issue will be what to use on the timepiece slot, attack or defense. Side note, I actually don't recommend making him as main DPS as his normal attack has the lowest scaling out of all the sword users. But hey, you can use him as main DPS if that's how you want to enjoy the game. I myself use him as main DPS because I am having too much fun keeping him on the field and spamming his elemental skill on cooldown. And in the process, I do a lot of normal attacks. So for a C0 Albedo, his defense only affects the Transient Blossom damage. This is the additional geo damage proc every 2 seconds after Albedo drops his elemental skill. If you have a C0 Albedo and you're using him as a main DPS, then you want to build him with an attack timepiece. My recommended set is a 2-piece Archaic Petra and a 2-piece Gladiator's Finale. The attack stat will affect normal attacks, the initial skill damage, which you will do every 4 seconds, as well as the initial elemental burst damage plus the explosions afterward. If you're using a C0 Albedo as a support, then most of the damage will come from the Transient Blossom procs every 2 seconds. So in this case, a defense timepiece is recommended. The artifact sets I would recommend for a C0 Albedo as a support is a 4-piece Archaic Petra or 2-piece Archaic Petra and 2-piece Noblesse Oblige for more ult damage. If you have a C2 Albedo, however, then it becomes very simple to build him. No matter what, you will want a defense timepiece. Whether you use him as main DPS or support DPS doesn't matter. C2 makes his initial burst as well as the following explosions benefit from defense as well. Artifact sets for a C2 Albedo would be again a 2-piece Archaic Petra and a 2-piece Noblesse Oblige. I do like the sound of a 2-piece Archaic Petra and 2-piece Defender's Will, but that will require more testing on my end. For a C2 Albedo, you can also change his headgear from a crit rate or crit damage to another defense piece, provided you have good crit rate and crit damage from your substats and weapon choice. Speaking of weapon choice, if you're using Albedo as main DPS, then any attack main stat sword or crit rate sword will do just fine, as well as either the Festering Desire or the Harbinger of Dawn. But for a support Albedo, you will want either the Festering Desire or the Harbinger of Dawn. C0 Albedo, you could go with either choice. Harbinger of Dawn shines the more crit damage you have, as long as you have a decent crit rate. But for C2 Albedo, you will 100% want Harbinger of Dawn. Yes, a 3-star sword. Festering Desire's passive only affects elemental skill, while Harbinger of Dawn affects everything. And C2 Albedo Burst does more damage with more defense, so it makes the low base attack of the Harbinger of Dawn a non-issue. So a couple of tricks with Albedo that you may find useful. Using his elemental skills resets the 2-second cooldown of the Transient Blossom. What this means is that you can do an attack, proc the Transient Blossom, do E again, and do an attack to proc the Transient Blossom immediately. Like so. Useful for a support Albedo to do mini bursts, but not for main DPS Albedo, as most of the time you will want to do... As I was saying, for a main DPS Albedo, you will want to be spamming his elemental skill on cooldown. His elevator also gives momentum to the character as long as it is still moving. Jumping before it reaches its peak will propel you much higher than it would have while stopped at the peak. can help with traversal and climbing. That's it for my take on Albedo. If you have any more insights or recommended builds, drop it in the comments. I'm excited for Ganyu! Oh man, I'm so hyped, can't you tell? Hey, if you need to farm stuff, need help with some weekly bosses, or just want to share memes, hang out with us on the Discord. We got 4K members, link in the description. We also go live on fb.gg/xnoggaming every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so do drop by if you have any questions or just want to hang out. If you want to support the content, that is also an option for you, link in the description. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Ganyu!